What's up, guys? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm also going to break down what's happening with the markets, but just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. So, as a quick reminder, tomorrow is going to be Friday, and just know there's no significant data coming out before market open. The data starts coming out after market open for tomorrow, so you don't have to worry about any kind of like data that could be coming out early on. At 10 a.m., that's when the data comes out for manufacturing numbers. I'll talk more about those later on. For now, let's talk about the charts and the weakness that is continuing to perpetuate. So, one thing I want to say is that Tesla's on a downtrend. We got a double top leg structure and we're continuing to fall. We're barely holding the 375 areas our support. If that fails us, we're going to be visiting our 200 EMA at 363, which is very close to where the cup and handle breakout was back in the month of November. So we had this cup and handle on Tesla. We ended up losing the lower end of the range at 380, and we're not doing the best of jobs at holding up. We need to see Tesla get back above at least 400 to turn back up, but for now we are looking more bearish. So please keep that in mind. There is a risk of 375 being retested. If that fails us, we're looking for 363 or so. For SPY, however, I want to say there's a very, very clear head and shoulders. There's a larger one on the 4 hour and the daily, but when you zoom into the right shoulder, this also looks like another miniature head and shoulders that's developing. Now, we rejected off our 20 and 200 EMAs only to come back down. We have this 580 area as the main support. We did see some buyers trying to defend it, but if anything, SPY is below 585, which is not the best of signs. There's clear weakness that's continuing to develop, and if 580 fails us, our target would be my target of like 577. And there is a risk of this continuing to fall. So just keep that in mind. We'll see if they try to base things at 580 or not. But for now, as I speak, there is still a lot of weakness on this chart, and there's still a risk of this, continuing to drop closer to the lower 580s. So we could be looking for more downside if that fails. There's also a head and shoulders on ES, the same kind of setup. Um, right now, the head and shoulders remains, and we're going to be looking at the support at the 5900 area. We have resistance around 5950. We could try to push for resistance only to reject back down. Overall, the head and shoulders actually played out very nicely on ES, so we're going to be watching to see how well we could hold 5900. If 5900 fails this, there's going to be a bigger dump because even though the right shoulder shows the head and shoulders, when you zoom out, there is room for more downside if we end up losing that 5880 area because this is just the right shoulder that ended up being symmetrical. If it loses the support here, then this can become even more bearish because we haven't hit these lows right here that started the head and shoulders. So there is that risk of more downside at 5900 and then 5880 if we lose those two supports. If we get above 5980, we could try to turn back up. Otherwise, this looks a little bit more bearish to me. For Nvidia, we look a little bit so-so. We are trying to push to about 138 to 140, but we haven't been able to hold above 138 quite yet. Let's see if we close above this or not. It could attempt to push because there's always that possible, inverse head and shoulders that could be developing. But for now, I just want to say that I want to see it get back above at least 140. We're looking a little lackluster. We're in a range between 138 and 136. We haven't lost 136 to turn bearish, and we haven't broken 138 to turn bullish. We're still stuck in between. For Bitcoin, we look a bit more bullish. We have not been able to break past 98,000. If we do break it, we're looking for us to get closer to 100,000. With the rejection here, we're looking for essentially 96,000 as our main level. For other factors out there, we have NQ. NQ's on a bit of a downtrend. We have a kind of like a lower high being made so far. We're also continuing to downtrend technically, but watch and see if we could hold 21,000. If this holds, I would be looking for a retest of about 21,200. And if we lose 21,000 flat, we turn more bearish. I think this might retest 21,200. We'll see if we get a rejection to start dumping even more or not. But just know there's still weakness that's developing. For the QQQ, we look weaker though. We're below 511. We did end up dumping to about 505 to 507, which is what I called out. We were correct about that. But let's see if we can hold above 511 or not. It could go either way. If we could reclaim 511, we could attempt to bounce. If not, like I said before, it's still looking quite weak. This support's still holding at 505, so we hit the next support. We'll have to see how it goes from here. Apple's looking weaker. We were not able to hold above 244, so there's going to be a risk of 242, then 240 is our supports, so just keep those in mind. For the Russell, we also are looking kind of weaker with the head and shoulders on the 4 hour. There is a left shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder. If we can't hold above 222, we're going to be at risk of dipping to about 218. For Coinbase, we are on a bit of a downtrend as well, but we'll have to see if we can break the 20 EMA at 262. If we can't do that, there's going to be a risk of us dumping to about 255. So be careful, guys. This is kind of flat right now. I'm seeing a weakness on Amazon. We were not able to hold above 223.6. So this opens the odds for another retest of not only 218, potentially even lower if that fails us. So there's still weakness on Amazon. Meta is also showing signs of weakness. It's on a bit of a downtrend. We're in a range between 600 and 589. If we lose 595, we're looking for 589. So give it some time. For Microsoft, we're on a bit of a downtrend as well. We're making lower highs and lower lows. We'll have to see if we can hold above 420. If not, there's going to be a risk of us continuing to fall to about 414. Same thing with Google. Google has a left shoulder here ahead and then a right shoulder. So if we can't hold above 192, this is going to be at risk of coming down to 188. So just be careful, guys. There is still weakness on this. So the market's looking weak so far. If you look at SPY, we're not even getting back above 585 so far. We're just barely holding support. So I just want to give you guys that warning that there is weakness. Same thing with Tesla. Unfortunately, guys, Tesla's at risk of coming all the way down to 375 again, if not 363 towards the 200 EMA. So be careful. There's a risk of downside on Tesla. I'm just giving you guys the warnings. I've been saying this all day. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good rest of your day. And I'll be back in a couple of hours for another update. There'll be one more update coming after this just to see how we close and such. So thank you for listening and peace out.